The Full Circle Podcast. Compelling interviews and incredible tales from Colorado's western slope, from the mountains to the desert. Christy Reese and her team hear from the movers, shakers, and characters of the Grand Valley and surrounding mountain towns that make the western slope the place we all love. You'll learn, you'll laugh, you'll love with The Full Circle.
Hey everybody, it's Jen Taylor with the Christy Reese Group. Welcome to the Full Circle Podcast. Spoiler alert, I'm not Christy Reese. I'm filling in for Christy this week. She's doing something really fun. I'm not sure what, but good for her. I am here. I am lucky to be here with my good friend and colleague. We've been working together for a long time, Mr. Trent Prall from the City of Grand Junction.
Good afternoon, Jen.
Hi, Trent.
Thanks for having us.
Yes. What are you up to this afternoon?
So, here I think to share a little bit about everything that the city has going on, and really excited about a number of different fronts there, especially as it relates to capital, which is my purview, primary purview here with the city. Yeah,
you have a lot going on, a lot under your hood, and we're gonna prop open the proverbial hood today.
All right,
peek underneath. Yeah,
sounds great.
So a little housekeeping. We've got we're here at lunch hour. Are you? I'm sorry that you're missing your lunch, or hopefully you've eaten or are going to. So
we'll later.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Just
we'll
want to make
catch a candy
sure
bar somewhere later.
Keep our guests fed.
Yeah, thanks.
Upright and healthy. Yeah, and then I know you've got some meetings after this, and let's get to it.
All right,
let's talk about it. So Trent Prall, tell us, where do you come from?
So born and raised in Sterling, Colorado, northeast of Denver, about 120 miles for those that have not ventured that way before. Town of about 13,000 people. And went to school at Colorado State University.
Yeah.
And City of Los Angeles came in and hired about half of my class. And there wasn't a whole lot going on there in 1990. Here in the state of Colorado or in the Rocky Mountains, they were still kind of reeling from the oil and gas bust about 7 years prior. And so City of LA had a lot of opportunities and lots of sun. And ended up out there for about 5 years.
Go west, they said.
Go west.
Go west, young man.
And it was a great experience that ended up landing me. I got married that same summer, and so Michelle and I went out together, not knowing anybody else out there, and so kind of sink or swim. And anyway, 5 years later, she got her accounting degree. I picked up a master's in business administration along the way, and then as well as some just great experience with the city of Los Angeles that was directly applicable to. For jobs coming back open here in Colorado, there in the beginning of 95. And we ended up moving here in February of 95 and been here 29 years here a couple months ago.
Oh my gosh, back to Colorado. Yeah. Yep. Did you pick up surfing? What did you do while you were in California?
So we did a lot of backpacking, a lot of mountain biking. That was when mountain biking was first starting out. And so we did a lot of that up and down the coast. A lot of time on the beach, studying for our couple of degrees and so forth. Yeah. But just really soaked it all up there in Southern California. And enjoyed our time there. But difficult to buy a house. And so as we were looking to start a family, definitely looking for a better quality of life. And we knew we wanted to get back closer to family here in Colorado and the Front Range. And so that's how we started looking, and Grand Junction had a position that came open, and actually the interview process was such that we got on the interstate after that pretty rigorous day and a half interview, and told Michelle that this is a place we don't have to worry about ever coming back to again. And by the time we got over to some friend's house over in Highlands Ranch, we City of Grand Junction had already called my parents where we were going to be the next night, and then up in Sterling, and then they had called my friends, and so we answered the door there, and they said, "So why would the City of Grand Junction want to be talking to you?" And
no way. So they called your parents first, not because they wanted to ask for their permission, but because that was the era before cell phones. That was before cell phones,
yes. And so and really before email was really going there. So they knew that's where we were headed. At that point, we were still based out of LA, and So anyway,
Funny.
and so the friends that we were staying with, he's a civil engineer, she's an accountant, and they just thought it would be great if we moved back to Colorado and all work together.
Yeah. So you had a whole squad rooting for you by the time you actually arrived at your friend's house.
We did, except for them. They were not so excited about us moving to Grand Junction. So they have since got over that over the last 29 years.
They probably come here now to visit you.
They come here and visit and love it over here.
Yep.
Just like we do.
Good for you guys.
Since then, we've got born and raised 3 kids, and they're all out and about. 2 are still here in the community, and another one's up in Montana.
Yeah, contributing citizens now. And how old's your youngest?
Youngest is 23.
23, I happen to know him.
And here working at Timberline Bank, and then our daughter's a deputy county coroner, and our oldest son is in property management up in Bozeman, Big Sky area.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've got another great place to travel to.
We do.
Yeah. Keeping the family together.
Although, they have long winters. They have real winters here.
Right.
Not like we have here that is really pretty mild and are able to mountain bike all the time.
Yep. We have a soft peak of winter, don't we? That's what we love about this place. One of the things we love about this place.
Sure is.
I say we, I'm including you in that. I assume you love that about this place.
Absolutely.
So many of us do. Yeah, the opportunity for year-round recreation. And when you arrived in Grand Junction, it was 1995, you said?
1995.
Okay.
And so there was not a lot of housing stock to choose from.
Yeah.
I mean, we had Ptarmigan Ridge going in, and we had Fountainhead going in. And that was about the only new product that had been built in over 10 years. And anyway, it served its purpose. Those properties did, but definitely not the great deals that we thought we would get, leaving the California market, where we just about spent $150,000 on a 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo.
Wow.
And instead got here and got into just a screaming deal out here on the Redlands, right there about 6 months after we got here.
Great.
So,
great.
Yep.
Yeah. Describe Grand Junction when you arrived, other than, the new developments that were going in.
So things were moving. I mean, it's starting to come out of the recession there a little bit, the oil and gas bust of 83. So, I mean, it's still lingering, 12, 13 years later. But yeah, definitely a lot more energy. I think I was the 3rd project engineer they had hired to expand their engineering capability there. And so, yeah, good effort towards some street reconstructions and so forth is what I was hired for originally, and then a lot going on with sewer and water infrastructure as well. But yeah, still pretty slow and sleepy compared to where we were just a few years after that. Going into the .com era there in the late 90s, early 2000s. And so forth. And then you get into 2003 and voters approved the Riverside Parkway just right behind you.
Right.
Here.
Yeah.
And so that took me out of City Hall and down to work on that particular project for a couple of years. And then we ended up opening that in about August of 2008. And that's just proven to be a really big boon, really popular for the community as well.
I was driving on the Parkway coming in today, and I thought, we should have called it the Riverside Speedway.
Yeah, well, there are definitely some that take it a little faster than what we have posted out there.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
So anyway, so at that point, things were definitely booming. They were by 2006, 7, and 8, and on a number of fronts we've got going on there, and then everything slowed down at that point. Quite a bit of a downsize there for the city as far as staff, early retirements, and a few layoffs. Then at that point,
you're talking about what era?
That would have been 2010. Really,
10, yeah.
We were a little bit late getting into the 2008 bust.
Yeah, we had the
really
tail.
Didn't impact. We had a pretty good tail, and then in late 2009, early 2010 is when. We had to start looking at our finances really tight, and based on what was happening in the other 3,800 counties in the United States.
Yeah, time to get really resourceful.
Yep, exactly. So anyway, so yeah, I mean, we've been a number of different projects, through all those years in advance, or not advance, but as well as, the Riverside Parkway, and rolling into some vertical construction as well, such as the Lincoln Park Tower, the Avalon, redo, which was just amazing. And then you just keep adding, more projects onto that. The public safety, initiative there with new PD and fire station remodels. And then you keep rolling on into, what else? Amphitheater right here in Las Colonias, and starting to get some energy, going down here along the riverfront.
Yeah.
And then 2016, there in June, July, I think, is right when Greg Caton came on board with us. And he started putting some other pieces and parts together. And by January of 2017, that was when Las Colonias, I'm walking down the hall, just heading to the bathroom, minding my own business. Greg's coming the opposite direction. And he goes, Trent, I've got a project we need to talk about. And so we call those hallway projects.
I love it.
They weren't on any capital improvement plan. They weren't on anybody's agenda prior to that conversation right there. And all of a sudden that was born, and he had all the community, between the DDA and the city council and then Greg and our finance department and so forth, we had everything financed within about 4 months.
Amazing. And DDA, Downtown Development Authority.
Yes. My apologies on the acronym there. But yes, Downtown Development Authority was critical in that as well. But and that's where Greg really excelled, was pulling a lot of different pieces and parts of the community and relationships throughout the community and getting things moving. But definitely one of the signature projects of my career here was definitely with Las Colonias, and then following up there with Dos Rios just a couple of years right after that.
Yeah. That's right about when, I think it was maybe October of 2016 when I'd started to talk with a couple of people on city council, and then Greg had just been hired, and then coming to you guys maybe that October, I think it was our first meeting, and off we went with Dos Rios. Yep. Yeah, the rest is history.
Yep, it
a
sure is.
A lot of meetings.
Yeah,
a lot of saddle time.
Absolutely.
Yes. That's how. It's amazing how things are born. It's a lot of, it's like building icebergs in the desert. A lot of things happening behind the scenes, and in, not necessarily closed room environments, but just it happens with, conversations down the hallway or at the trailhead, or, but even phone calls after hours trying to get stuff figured out. GSD. Get shit done. How do we do it?
Exactly.
Greg was such a great, he was a great ally between kind of that connector of public, private, and nonprofit, right? He was a great connector. You have a lot of that too. You have so many different, if I may, just knowing you, and our kids have grown up together. So it's been really fun to, we run into each other at restaurants and at grocery store, and, you at the trailhead, and, and you having so many hobbies and so many passions and pursuits as an outdoorist, I would imagine that a lot of things cross paths with you, your personal and your professional life, and where those conversations take place.
Yeah, they sure do.
On and off the clock.
On and off the clock, yes. Yeah. Running into folks, as we run up and down the rivers throughout Western Colorado. And there was definitely a pretty good network there, and not a huge network, but definitely a growing network there. That's been a lot of fun catching up with folks over that. Obviously, the riverfront has been an area of emphasis ever since, but even before I got here. I think that all started about in 1988 with some of the western portions here of Las Colonias, what is now Las Colonias, and of course Dos Rios as well. Yeah. And just some of that, vision that, happened all along the riverfront there. And then we've got, the mountain biking community with COPMOBA and close ties there with the Bureau of Land Management, and Colorado Parks and Wildlife with everything we're working on right now, which is one of the projects I did want to talk about was our efforts with Colorado Parks and Wildlife and Mesa County on finishing up this last mile and a half in between the Eddy and 29 Road.
Yes.
And here just east of Las Colonias. And
yes. So recreation really enthusiasts want to hear this.
Absolutely. Yes. And we're really excited about progress that we're making there with the last remaining property owner there, that we hope to have that closed here by the end of June, 1st of July, somewhere in that time frame.
End of June, 1st of July this year, 2024.
So that's as far as right-of-way acquisition. And then moving forward from that would be going for a GOCO grant later on this year. And then the plan would be for construction then next year. And Of course, that's all contingent on some city and county and CPW boards coming together for all of that.
Yeah,
but
fantastic.
There's been lots of excitement about the Riverfront Trail for many, many years. And so, we're excited to hopefully bring that to fruition here in the next 18 months.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And the Riverfront Trail, for those that are outside of our valley listening in, it's one of our crown jewels of our valley, of the Grand Junction area. It's started as the string of pearls and connecting all of the jewels along the Colorado riverfront through our valley, kind of in the center of which is the confluence. And that's, what is it now? Is it 34 miles stem to stern? 30, I'm putting you on the spot. 30 something, 32,
So
34, 36?
420, probably 24, 25. We go out to 33 and a quarter road, but we start there in Loma. So whatever Loma is, I think that's about exit 10, something like that. So, or 10 road, something like that.
Right. So you, and there are spur trails all along. The spur trail up to the Lunch Loop parking lot, to the Tabawatch trailhead. And then you've got and it goes all the way out to, extends to the Kokopelli trailhead out in Loma.
Yes, it sure does.
It's amazing.
Yep.
It's amazing. Yeah. With that final gap. To connect the dots. Yeah. The riverfront and how that has spurred so much activity, not only from the recreation corridor, but awareness of the riverfront and, what was so long hidden by tamarisk and private land and junk cars and just completely turned this valley around.
Right.
Yeah.
Dos Rios had 8,500 cars waiting to be demolished, salvaged there in the mid 90s. And so, that transformation there with all the work that Department of Energy did in cleaning up a lot of the mill tailings and so forth. But they had to move all those cars off. And their plan was to bring it back after washing up all those cars, clean up all the mill tailings uranium mill tailings that were underneath all that. And luckily we had some, the Lions Club was involved, and then our predecessors there with One Riverfront being such strong community advocates about this is what we want for our community long term. And so
don't bring the cars back.
Don't bring the cars
Please.
back. Anything but the cars. And so they backed that up and actually arranged for the purchase of that. And so as both of those uranium projects came to an end, both here at Las Colonias, the city was deeded possession of this 140 acres or so, and then we were also deeded the 55 acres over there at Dos Rios. And so again, under Greg's leadership and councils and DDAs and so forth involvement, both of those projects are now to the point where are just waiting to go vertical.
Yep. Yeah, we know a little bit about that. Yep. I can speak a little bit to that too. It's and interesting, as we bounce from past, present to future, you've got your hands in all. How many years have you been with the city then? Since 1995.
Yep, so 29 years.
Oh yeah, amazing.
Yep.
Great legacy. And then where we are right now, we're in the Bonsai Building at Las Colonias. This was the first structure, or was it Rocky Mounts?
Rocky Mounts was first.
This was second. Okay, got it. And this is the site of what once was the Climax mine, the uranium mine.
Not so much the mine, but the processing had happened further to the north and west of us. And then where we're at right now is where a lot of the tailings have been stored.
Yes.
So uranium is a very small percentage of the ore that's mined. And so they harvest that out, and then they toss off the what they call tailings off to the side. So millions of cubic yards were stockpiled here. And then through DOE's Department of Energy's efforts, all of those were hauled out in the late 80s, early 90s to a repository here south of town.
Got it. That clarifies something for me. I learned something. Thank you for that. Yeah. And this was, as the story goes, the 100-foot tall pile of mill tailings, and you could back your truck up, the city, the landowners, anybody, a homeowner could, and it made a great binding agent, as we understand, in concrete and cement.
Yep. It was great material to have underneath your sidewalks, underneath your roads, around your pipes, and underneath foundations and so forth. So instead of mining other aggregates around, people would use that for a structural fill, just to kind of smooth things out, and then pour the concrete on top of that. And so as part of DOE's cleanup efforts in the 80s, they went through and saw cut out everyone's basements floors, slab floors, took out all the mill tailings, put new material in, repoured all that, and then refinished everyone's homes.
Yeah, those that opted in.
Part of that, those that opted in.
Right,
Exactly.
Right. We deal with that every day in real estate. We pull a mill tillings report, whether there has ever been a structure on this land or not, or new or old, it doesn't matter. We pull it every day. It's such a nuance about our valley. So yeah, it's great. It's part of our history. So let's talk about some of the things that have got. So the Las Colonias to Dos Rios, it comprises about a 2-mile stretch. Is that right?
Yes, that's
along
correct.
the Colorado Riverfront of downtown. It really extends our downtown sector. We're about a half a mile as the crow flies from downtown Main Street. And one of the big conversations that's been on the in a lot of meetings and just casual conversation on the sidewalk has been, how do we get more people from downtown to the riverfront? And as we talk about transportation corridors, can you speak a little bit about that? What's already in place and what might perhaps one day be in place? You bet.
On 7th Street, we've already got, from way back in, let's say like 1988, 89 is when 7th Street was improved to what we call now a complete street, which included curb, gutters, sidewalks, planting strips to help buffer the sidewalks and so forth. But we also have bike lanes. And so that was clear back in 1988. We didn't even know what complete streets were at that point. That term hadn't even been coined yet. That didn't happen until about 2006. And so anyway, we were starting to do the right things then, and that was state of the art then to tie Main Street to the riverfront. And so that was all completed as part of the 7th Street project way back then. Is it the way we build it today? No, not necessarily. We'd have a little wider bike lanes, which we have restriped since we originally built that. And the concrete on the sides could probably use a little of attention as well to help improve that. Ideally, you would have a detached path altogether, 10-foot wide detached path running up the corridor. That would just be a lot more comfortable for a wider range of users, all the way down to 7, 8-year-old kids, all the way up into seniors in their, 70s and 80s. And so with a bike lane, those two groups in particular may not be quite as comfortable, with the corridor. So as we look at that's existing, and then as part of the Downtown Development Authority's plan of development that they completed back in 2019, one of the other corridors that they looked at was 9th Street.
Yes.
And so 9th Street being able to, it hasn't been improved, it's just asphalt, and then serves, the commercial developments, on either side there, and commercial/industrial developments on both sides there. And ideally, that would have a more significant detached a multimodal facility that serves, not only pedestrians, but also bikes, and scooters could be up on that as well, and so forth down that 9th Street corridor. We don't have that budgeted just yet, but that is really the one that could really be the kind of the springboard for that. And then you have the lights at the signals there on I-70B at Pitkin and Ute, right there at Emerson Park, where the brand new skate park is under construction right now.
Yes, very exciting.
Very exciting there.
Sexy dirt being thrown there. It'll be a skate park for downtown.
Yep.
Great.
And so transitioning across that over to 10th Street, and then 10th Street gets you all the way up to CMU, and that's already a designated preferred cycle path as well. So really that's how we, envision long-term to be able to help get more folks, down here. But the city recently completed our pedestrian and bicycle plan, and that kind of looked at the entire city and kind of laid out corridors that need some attention and so forth. And so one of the corridors that we're getting ready to study in more detail is the 7th Street corridor, all the way from Struthers all the way up to Horizon Drive. And so being able to tie into the system that then the existing bike path there that goes all the way up to the airport.
Got it.
So
wow.
Anyway,
so excited.
Fun stuff.
Does your mind work like a giant pictograph? Like, is everything kind of in a hierarchy of patterns and grids, and this whole valley is imprinted in your mind in such a way that
it is. But unlike most careers, at least with civil engineering, you're able to look at my work, and I go to other communities and look at everybody else's work, because it's all on stage. Everybody's roads, how good a condition they are, and curb, gutters, sidewalks, street lights, how they maintain the landscaping, how they get people around, and their cycle tracks and bike and anyway, all of that.
Yes.
It's all on stage. Whereas, you can't really go to another community and take a look at a realtor's work and see exactly what, behind the scenes there. But, for us as civil engineers, we get to drive that all the time. And so even on,
how cool.
During the winter, we do a lot of what we call trail inspections. And that's where I grab a couple other engineers, and we go out and take a look at the concrete infrastructure that we have on bikes, and go for a bike ride over lunch. And, but yeah, those are our trail inspections, and twofold, to see how things are all tying together and see if anything needs any maintenance.
Wow. Oh, that's great. So yeah, your office is ever in front of you, no matter where you're going, what you're doing, how late or how early you are arriving. You're always checking it out.
Yep. Yeah. And my wife gets tired. We share a Google account, and so what pictures I take show up on that, and what pictures she takes shows up on that as well. And so we're out on trips, and all of a sudden she's got to wade through about 15 pictures worth of a cycle track somewhere, or a sidewalk, or an intersection, or street lights, or stuff like that. So
that's great.
Anyway,
I love it.
Appreciate her patience with me. So.
Yeah. Oh, how fun. How fun. That's so engaging too. I love that and going to other communities, right, and seeing how inspiring that must be, and also what feedback that must be for you to feel like we're doing pretty damn well. Yeah. And thinking about the growth and the expansion of Grand Junction as we look into 2050, just listening to Nathan Perry the other day, and how exciting that is. Are we on par for early demographic forecasts, or are we off track? Do you know how in terms of, and how that relates to transportation, and just making sure that we're staying on top of that to keep the flow of our valley?
So we work very closely with our Mesa County Regional Transportation Planning Office. And so every 5 years, the federal government requires us to update our regional transportation plan. And so we work very closely with the state demographers, with our long range planners, and in coming up with what's going to develop next, what land is left to develop, what land's going to redevelop, and then that then projects onto our transportation network, and then we're able to take a look and see where those hot spots are going to be coming up. Whether Patterson and 29 Road is going to fail here in the next 20 years, and by failure I mean that you got gridlock. It's taking you multiple cycles to get through a particular intersection or signal.
Right, which you hear people start to talk about now. Old timers that have lived in the valley for a long time.
Yes, that is accurate. And yes, if you want gridlock, it's generally you'll find it in other communities, larger communities such as Salt Lake or in Denver and so forth. Yeah. But we do have a fair amount of folks that get stressed out here with us as well, and share that with us. So, because every time you get your driver's license, or anyone who has a driver's license is also a transportation engineer.
Got it.
And so they're never short on providing feedback for us.
It's your 5 minutes of critical acclaim.
Yep, exactly. So anyway, so all that modeling goes in and helps drive, like our 24 road, expansion, G Road, there in front of Community Hospital. A lot of that was driven by what was showing in the models there, 15, 20 years ago. And, but yeah, I can share as far as getting to your question, as far as are we on par with the demographics. So all of that changes. 2008, we're booming 6, 7, 8, and we're working on our 2030 plan at that point. Maybe 2035 plan at that point, and we are projecting out to be 272,000 people here in the valley. Wow. And it's like, ouch, and we've got gridlock everywhere. I mean, we need 6 lanes on Patterson, on I-70B, Highway 50, and all that. And now we're projecting for about 2050, I believe the number is right around 225,000. So, and that's just all based on, varying growth rates.
And we're at 160.
We're just a little over 160 right now in the county.
In the county, yes. So, okay.
Yep.
Got it.
And 225 here in the next 25 years or so. And Again, that's all subject to change.
Every 5 years or so, they
every
reevaluate.
5 years, we revisit that.
Okay.
And but yeah, after that 2008 study that said we were going to be at 272, we didn't grow again, for another 6-7 years.
Yeah, so that put some pause on the forecast.
It did.
Yeah, you
Absolutely.
you're kind of the minister of flow, the farmer of flow for the valley as we look at all that. So yeah.
There's a lot of others involved.
Yes, of course, yeah. But I started to call you the high priest of that. So,
Yeah.
So going back to Dos Rios, going back to getting people from downtown to the riverfront, the bridge, the pedestrian bridge, is that still on the table? Is that still a topic?
That is still on the table, but it is, we had originally included that. We had a couple of grant requests back in 2017, 18 when we first started talking Dos Rios. And people were going, Trent, that's the bridge to nowhere. And it's like, and I was arguing more, it's not the bridge too far, it's the bridge too soon. And we just need more vertical infrastructure to be going. That means all the buildings, all the commercial, all the retail, the 300 plus units of residential, going there to help drive that demand.
Yep.
And the whole idea behind the vision of the bridge that would essentially start there near the depot on the north side and then come over and then run through the heart of Dos Rios right down to the Colorado River. The whole vision there is that you would be able to be perhaps at the convention center there on Main Street and within about a 15 to 16 minute walk, you're sitting along the waterfront in cool space. I mean, with all that commercial outdoor space, the beaches, the splash park that is currently underway, the park work that our Parks and Rec department has already put together down there. It'll be a special place for sure. One of those jewels or the gems there on there, one of the pearls, I guess, along the Riverfront Trail.
Yep.
That was envisioned clear back in the late 80s.
Yep. And we'll bounce back to Dos Rios in a minute, but tell me another question that I hear a lot of conversation about. And I was gone. I stepped out of the valley. I was traveled for a little bit, for about a year and a half there, and came back, and I'm still catching up on some of the hot topics. So this is one that I want to hear directly from you. Tell us about the 29 road interchange with I-70.
So I-70 and 29 road interchange has been in the works. It was originally contemplated when I-70 was built, back there in the late 50s and early 60s, and they decided probably a little too soon. And so it has been talked about pretty much since I got here 29 years ago. And finally here in 2019, we decided to advance a lot of what we were hearing as far as grant funding availability on that. And financing there is that you need to have a match for one. Two, you got to have at least through the environmental, analysis and have permission from CDOT and from the Federal Highway Administration as well.
Right.
And so that's what we've been working on since about 2019, 2020. We had what we called our planning and environmental linkages study, which is the first part of a much more rigorous study. We got to that and had agreement that, interchange is needed and warranted. Let's move forward. And so that's what we've been working on since then. And so now we are working on that on one front, is finishing that up and hopefully be with that project before the State Transportation Commission here in late summer, July and August is the time frame that we're looking at there. And then here in November, we'd be we're contemplating another bond initiative where we would seek voter approval. Being able to represent that, hey, we've got the state approval, we've got the Federal Highway Administration approval, and therefore we're just needing funding here that we'd be able to then apply for, the various grants and so forth across that'll be available. But you got to have the match. You got to show the match. You got to show all the other approvals. And so that's what we're working on right now. In fact, we've got a meeting here this evening with a couple of our council members and a commissioner and administrator and so forth on kind of laying that path out here, as well as our state transportation commissioner that represents our region here. So anyway, so lots moving on there. The benefit of that corridor is it takes off some of the load what happens at Horizon Drive, as well as what happens over there at Clifton, extends the life of both of those facilities, as well as provide some connectivity, for us. And right there in the center part of the valley, that'll serve Matchett, that'll serve the entire 29 road corridor all the way down to Highway 50. And this is all part of master plan that was, created back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and the city and the county have been working on jointly funding their respective pieces, coming up and over, starting on Highway 50. The county built that, coming up 29 Road across Orchard Mesa, built the bridge, built up to D Road, and then we jointly funded from D Road up and over I-70B, and then down into North Avenue. But prior to that, we had jointly funded everything between North Avenue and Patterson. So now we've got left from Patterson up to the interstate.
Got it.
And then the interchange itself up there. And there's about a couple hundred acres worth of developable land that's not tied up with the airport authority and so forth up there. So there's some development potential there, but really it's for connectivity for us, throughout the valley and regionally to be able to get off there. You have Independence Academy that's it's a charter school that draws from all over the valley, not just that immediate area, but all over the valley. And so that'll really open their commuters, up rather than having to funnel everything through 29 Road in Patterson.
Absolutely. And Matchett Park going in.
Matchett Park going in. Yeah, really excited about the community community rec center going in there.
Clapping.
And really excited about that $82 million, investment there that Parks. And again, council and credit to the all the voters and so forth that voted that in.
Yeah. So a thoughtful process, I would say. It took a while.
That one took a while.
It took a while.
Yes.
Yeah. Very excited. So going back to the 29 Road interchange, is there a target on the board that in the next 5 years, 7 years, understanding that it depends on quite a few factors coming into play, but
right. So if there was a positive vote here yet this fall, we would be looking at, applying for grants after that. But we'll still have, a fair amount of work to do as far as finishing up what we call 30% set of plans. Engineering plans, and then from that we're able to go out and acquire the necessary right-of-way and easements for all the various utilities, and for 29 Road right now is just 22 feet of asphalt, and this will grow to about 5 lanes, 2 lanes each direction, center turn lane with medians, and then detached paths and bike lanes and so forth along that corridor. And so it'll take much more right of way than what we have right now, but we are working within that existing context to try to minimize the adjacent property impacts, but yet still maximize the benefit long term for the community coming in and out of there. So yeah, really excited about that. So to answer your question, though, is so the right-of-way acquisition would probably take us about a year to 15 months, and then we'd be under construction for about 22 months.
22 months. So it could
be as soon as
5
26, 27
Amazing.
Is what we'd be looking at.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Yep.
So many steps. Do you ever just get exhausted?
Just keep plugging away.
And
you've got so many different projects that are all moving, and some move faster than others at times, and sometimes it feels a little more like herding cats, but we try to keep them more like sheep and kind of keep them all corralled and moving forward.
And creative solution problem solving, I'm sure, as well.
Yep.
I've been in meetings with you, and I've seen you walk in with your caddy of files. You're just a mobile office. You carry everything with you, and it's
yeah, and some of that's cultural. One is we don't like to be on our screens in a meeting. We want to be face to face with folks. But if you're hiding behind a laptop, and so forth, not too cool. And so, and then also scrolling through, I know where that file is. Scrolling through all that can be rather clunky as well. And they're going, well, are they paying attention to me? Or are they responding to some email they got right before this, or one that just came in? And so it's just kind of disrespectful that way. But I want to maximize our time in that meeting and not have to schedule yet another meeting. Well, let me go look that up. And if I've got the information and I've got it right there at my fingertips, I can scroll through it really quickly, pull that out. No, this is what was decided on this date, and yes, this was the path forward, and so forth. So that's where I, especially with Dos Rios, yes, I had a very large filing system for that I brought to most meetings. But,
yeah, impressive.
Anyway, but yeah, fun stuff.
Anything else? We're coming up on, and again, being a time kid, we already broke some rules. We've already thrown the headsets away and done all that, but we're not going to break the rule of how much time we have. Anything else that is pertinent, that's on top of your radar that you want to make sure the public knows about, or exciting to share?
We're just really excited about the growth and development that's coming here, and us being able to manage that as best we can. So working through our new zoning and development code, our new transportation engineering design standards, and so forth. But really the projects that were approved by voters back in 2019, November 2019, we had 10 of those. We're still working on those. The first of that was 24 Road and G Road, the intersection there, the widening of 24 Road, the improvement of G Road in between 23.5 and 24.5. But we have a number of others that just broke ground. They're on F&a-half Parkway in between 24 and 24.5. Second phase of that will be out later this year, awarded beginning of next year. That'll continue that on down towards the intersection of 25 Road and Patterson, and provide a great alternative route, to get folks up to what will be the centroid of growth here for the next 20 years. As you get Costco that comes in on the northeast corner up there, and you've got a number of other very large parcels that develop, of which Community Hospital was one of the first ones out there, and then of course Cap Rock Academy over there, and then the ever community favorite there at Canyon View Park. So we've got those. We've got improvements coming at G Road 27.5 and Horizon Drive. We got a new roundabout there. Then we've got some other projects on B.5 Road in between 29 and 3/4 Road. That'll be kind of a safe route to school to the benefit of Lincoln OM. On D.5 Road, we've got from 29.25 over to 30 to the benefit of Pear Park Elementary, and then 26.5 Road going out to Paradise Hills, and finally getting folks after 50 years that they've been out there, finally get them something else to come to work on, or come to work and come to the community on, other than the 22 feet of asphalt that's been there for all these years.
So, that was like a speed round of everything. I keep bumping the microphone because I'm leaning in listening.
So we've got that going on, and then we've got Crosby Avenue down connecting West Main over to where the Rail Yard, Walmart, the Rimrock Shopping Center, and so forth. So we're excited about that. We've got a large grant in participation with CDOT to a tune of about $1 million for that $2.5 million project. So a significant investment there from a program called the Revitalizing Main Street. So we're excited about that. Multimodal path, definitely kid-friendly, senior-friendly path to get you in between Main Street and there. And as we have that, the big Richmark project, right there at the old city market site at First and Main, 256 new apartment units going up there. They'll be able to get out to, the grocery opportunities out there at Rimrock, just that much easier than what they could now.
Beautiful.
So, anyway, that's awesome. 4th, 5th Street downtown. That'll be a great repurpose of some existing space down there that we're going to pilot there with a cycle track there, and some parallel parking and so forth. And that'll come here before council here in May for award. And so that's some of the work through the downtown there coming up here in June, July.
Exciting time to live and be a part of all the work and all of the the shifting that is taking place decade by decade, to be in Grand Junction, in the Grand Junction area right now, and then looking forward another even just 5-10 years, and how we have really kind of found our skin, it seems, more than ever before. I think we're always the best version of what we can be. I continually say that, just continually proud of where we live and have invested. I've been here since 93. You've been here since 95. And we've seen so many changes, and they've been thoughtful changes and by design, with intention. And our leadership has really grabbed hold of that and taken it. And now we're making things happen.
Yep, sure are.
It's exciting.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just all the collaborative relationships here that we have to rely on. I mean, for me, it's CDOT. I mean, it's Army Corps of Engineers, U.S. Fish and Wildlife. It's Colorado Parks and Wildlife. It's Mesa County, is one of our close partners on so many different projects. And the Downtown Development Authority, the Horizon Drive Business Improvement District, and then, One Riverfront and Rivers Edge West and Colorado West Land Trust and all of those. And it's just a smile, all the different relationships that we have here that then cross paths when we're out on the trails, out on the river, or at various social events. It's just been awesome.
At the grocery store, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the private sector and those individuals that really carry the passion to really infuse and make things possible. You guys, I understood, I'm going to wrap us up, but I was listening in, this is back when we were working on Dos Rios, and I listened to a member of the municipality, different from Grand Junction, that talked about, really the bureaucracy of a municipality is really designed to protect and make sure that they're keeping the pace of the community at large and de-risking factors and a lot of mitigation, right? But it's the passion of the private sector when that comes into play, and then triangulating that with nonprofits to make sure that the community as a whole is represented. But when that, call it an individual or a group of individuals that come in from the private sector that bring that passion and then carry it through to work with the city to then bring a new vision to fruition, and how beautiful that process is. That's not necessarily the city's job. The city's job is to find possibility and find solution, keeping its community at large in mind and making sure that it does not present new risk for them. And it was really, it helped me pivot a little bit and really understand the importance of the individual in that formula as well. And we all have a responsibility here.
Yep, we
Citizenship.
Sure do. Yes, absolutely.
Right? Yeah. On that note.
Yep.
All right. Trent Prall, when are you hitting the river next?
Not until this weekend.
Okay. So, well, you've got a few days.
Only because I've got night meetings. Otherwise, we'd be out there this evening. So.
Understood.
Anyway.
Understood.
Yep.
Well, we'll see you out on the trails.
All right. Sounds great.
Okay. High five, buddy.
Thanks.
Thanks, Trent.
Yep.
All right. This was Jen Taylor and Trent Prall, the Director of Public Works for the City of Grand Junction. I don't think I've formally introduced you as your title in the beginning, but now the cliffhanger has now been revealed. With the City of Grand Junction, this has been a really wonderful time to sit with you and really listen firsthand to what's happening and how things came to be. And
really appreciate the interest.
We had
a great story here over my last 29 years. Has definitely been a joy. So.
Yep. Good stuff. Well, we under your leadership and guidance, we are very appreciative. So
Thanks.
We're a lucky community. All right. We're signing out. This is Jen Taylor with the Christy Reese Group. Thanks for joining us. And Trent, we'll see you on the trail.
Yep. Thanks again, Sharon.
Ciao.
Thanks for listening. This is Christy Reese signing out from the Full Circle Podcast.